Yeah. What's your preferred time machine?
The one that goes forward slowly, unceasingly towards
your mind
grave. Yeah, the body, this flesh vessel in which my mind occupies. That's my favorite time machine.
Yeah, it's a good one.
This cog that we all spin around in, that we call life. That's it. Yeah. Oh no. Oh, okay. Are we pulling our weird instruments out? Hold up. Maybe. What do I got?
We're gonna do it. Keep talking.
What are we gonna do?
This is not loud enough to actually be useful, but I'm gonna have it here, and so that you all know that that's what's happening.
Okay.
This is my time machine. It's a keytar.
Okay. That I mean, that's sending me to the 80s, so it's working.
All right. Looks like it's. Yep, we're getting the end of. Or is this the beginning of Spark versus Koopa? I don't know if we're catching this set midway through or if it's just the start of it. Let me check our chat.
Still in. I forgot that was winners. It is not the end of our good friend KoopaTroopa895.
Yeah. Oh, off the top. It's such a good feeling.
How do you feel about this matchup?
Sheik versus Marth?
Yeah, I feel like this matchup is like the top half of like a wave, you know, like a sonic wave, where like it peaks and everyone's just like, man, Sheik destroys Marth, and then it slowly approaches even, and then they're like, maybe this is even, and then it just goes back. Another year passes, and everyone's like, no, Sheik destroys Marth.
I just always think about when I was like really try hard in college. I had a notebook filled with notes that eventually ended up with Matt.Zeb, and then he gave it back to me at main stage, and then I forgot it at main stage. But in that notebook is just pages of notes of Marth versus Sheik, because I started off as a Marth main. And I hated this matchup. I could never beat it. I lost a character color money match that condemned me, that until I beat a strong Sheik in bracket, like I had to beat a Sheik that I'd lost to before, I was cursed to wear white Marth until the end of time. And that curse has still not been lifted.
It's very interesting. I think Sheik wins.
Yeah, me too.
Koopa very good at Sheik though.
Yeah.
I have seen this this redacted player that Koopa just casually four stocks was a Sheik player. He just walks up, four stocks, and goes about his business.
Yeah. I do think it's like, it's more that I think it's even enough, and the way that it's even is good for Sheik in stressful situations.
Okay.
And I think that that's an extremely valuable quality to have in Melee. But it also explains why when you watch kind of cool as a cucumber Marths, they look really nice versus Sheik. If we're talking beautiful in a vacuum conditions where both players have a resting heart rate of -2, then sure, maybe Marth could go even or win. But I don't think it pretty much ever happens. Oh. That being said, having a winning matchup doesn't mean you win every set. I think IBDW actually put it really well in his stream. He's like, if it's a 6-4 matchup, that means 1 set out of 10 you lose because your character was worse. Yeah. And the other were 50-50. And I don't know if that math works out in terms of how probabilities exist, but I like it. I like that logic.
Yep, but Koopa does have the port closer to the right, and you know what that means.
What does it mean?
It means that there is a lot to complain about after this set for the Sheik. You just complain, even if it didn't really make a difference.
So I think there was some discussion about, like, should ports be normalized somehow? What's the big advantages Marth gets from being on the right side there?
So Marth gets an extra frame of Sheik being in lag after a throw. So things combo easier, and things like some things that normally wouldn't combo start to combo, like up throw into up tilt, for example. And I don't know if you've ever played a Marth. They love to up throw. It's a big thing. And if you make it better, that's a big deal. Suddenly, like FD is like a crazy good stage where you get up throw, up tilted, and you get up aired over and over and over. And if Sheik has port 4, for example, or the port further to the right, she could just jump out.
How does it determine it? I don't understand how Slippy determines it.
Who is port 1 and port 2? I think it's random. I think it's actually random.
That's nuts. And it's not even random between games, it seems like. It's random between sessions.
Yeah.
I wonder if it would even be possible to randomize between games.
Yeah, not sure. But I think there's a really good video explanation of this phenomenon where it changes like certain situations depending on what port you are in this matchup in particular. But even though that is true, most of the situations in which you think it's affecting you are actually not affecting you because you weren't frame perfect anyway, or you weren't in the situation where it matters. Because they pointed out this one set in particular where someone was complaining about, oh man, if only I had port 4, I would have won. And they were like, well, I broke down every situation in which this happened, and none of them were frame perfect or important at all. So it wouldn't have changed anything actually.
Yeah, it's there's a couple of like, I feel like there's so many things in Melee that are very frame dependent, but I kind of divide them into categories of like realistically have a good chance of swinging a set versus not. Like a lot of Samus aerial interrupt stuff is really tight frame wise. Yeah. To get your Galint, you need to do some tight stuff. And like that to me is gonna sit. By the way, 4-stock happening.
Yeah, Spark is going sicko mode right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was gonna be it.
Spark saying, hey, Sheik does win the matchup. Game 1, just one of those rare misses from me. Had nothing to do with you, I'm sorry to say.
It's me, it's not you.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never seen a Sheik go for that. It's more of a Falco thing to do that last side there. But hey, you know, sure, try it on, see how it fits.
I love Sheik down there. It's so cool. She makes an N with her body, like a contortionist at the Cirque du Soleil.
Mm-hmm. Well, this set is crazy. It's going in such a direction that I have no idea what's gonna happen in Game 3. Literally anything could happen. Probably gonna go FD, but I mean,
yeah. There you go.
Is Spark gonna 4-stock Koopa this time? I don't know. Is Koopa gonna 4-stock Spark? That could happen too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love watching Sheik play. It is very much to me like watching Bugs Bunny versus the Bull. When I'm in it, it makes me feel very small because I don't like being a bull. But like Sheik's like olaying people is kind of beautiful, and even putting the like needles down, you saw that a whole bunch. It extends the lag of your opponent's moves when they're trying to get at you.
It's really good to just throw needles on the ground because it just generally makes Marth's down tilt just a little worse. And
does that work on literally every stage in the game? Like, is there like I know that like I'm thinking about Pokemon Stadium and how the grass has like weird properties with Jigglypuff rollout, and I'm wondering if there's any other like kinds of terrain that
where
interact.
Needles don't stick.
Or where they interact differently, like maybe they get double stick. You're making it sound like I'm a crazy person, but there's no reason for rollout to work on grass differently.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm saying that in an inquisitive way because I've never thought about it, and I don't think that's true. So the needles, when they hit the ground, sometimes they bounce, sometimes they stick, sometimes they're. I love that reverse.
That was very cool.
Or sorry, neutral. But And the formation that they come out in and their scatter on the floor is actually all somewhat random. So
yeah. I think I remember there's some visualization of like how many you've charged and how random the spread is, and it's like that's a really, really good reason to charge a lot. Is it makes it much more predictable that you're at the middle of the spread. Basically works exactly like one of those videos about how they proved quantum mechanics exists. So check out PBS Spacetime on YouTube. Spark dying at 182%. Once again, denied the beauty of a 4-stock, but This is pretty deliriously one-sided at this point.
This feels a lot like. Honestly, it feels a lot like when you sit down to play with like your little brother some game, and you're like trying to keep it light and fun, but then he beats you and then like starts talking mess, and then you have to remind him.
When I first started playing Melee in college, I had a lot of that when I'd go back home and fight my casual friends, and I still wasn't like great at Melee, and I was like, why aren't my Falco pillar combos just perfect on these casuals? How am I still losing? But it was a great feeling when you have that button inside you to just turn it on.
Yeah. Nah, I don't know. This is just rough.
Koopa's doing a lot of like interesting things. Like that little combo there, 3-piece is good, but it feels like Koopa is in a position after landing a lot of the time where it's tough to get the follow-ups. Like, I like that forward smash better than any of the beautiful combos, because you're already in an advantageous position. You just abuse the knockdown. Mm-hmm. I feel like Koopa sometimes is getting almost too custom in the air. Maybe that's not true. We'll see.
Hey, yeah, that up smash is what you eat if you don't.
Yeah, like the neutral B, it's like, he's at 7%.
We need to switch to Pal. Sheik's down throw is a little too good.
It's pretty good.
It's like, you're thinking about all of the things, that, like, how should I DI her throw? Oh, man, all her follow-ups are so good. I don't know which one. Which one can I eat right now and not die?
I think removing the spike on Marth down air is pretty much unforgivable though in Pal. Everything else, goated. Every change,
sure,
they did it. But the spiky, but they made the sword worse instead.
Yeah. Man, Spartan's so good at dash, hold down, dash, then dash out of crouch, and then hold down, and then dash out of crouch.
Yeah.
Oh, I say that and he missed it. I just point out how good he is at something and immediately just messes it up.
Yeah, that happens when I read my horoscope too.
Oh. Oh, baited into trying to punish the landing, but he was already out of the animation, so he had just the regular landing.
Spark is an incredible baiter for sure.
Now dash back.
Every stock is like 140+% on Spark. Like, you are being asked to renovate this house and your budget, and it's just like, you know, it's that house in Cleveland that the TOs have to decide if it's the final Cleveland house, and you've got like a budget of 20 million. That's cheeking this matchup. It's just like, okay, I guess I'm not dying. I think KoopaTroopa would need to get tech chase and then, I don't know, read on the recovery and maybe more edge guard cycles, but it's really tough with how great Spark's neutral has been this whole set.
Sure. Well, that was a 3-1.
That was 3-1.
It was such a stark, immediate change of pace from game one.
Yeah.
It was giving real bully energy the rest of the rest of that set.
Have you ever what's your bully history? Is there like a single player that you can remember? You told us the story earlier on stream of going around and Redacted getting bullied a little bit. But have you had this moment of switching and being like, actually, I am much, much, much better than you? So
I did. So if you guys ever if anyone in chat or if you ever went to any of the Evos, Evos were really fun to watch, but they were horrible as a player experience because there were too many people there and there were never enough setups. So we had more people than there were chairs. A lot of the setups were 5-6 player rotations, and half of them were sitting on the ground. Dude. And I was playing friendlies on a four-man rotation, I think, and a fifth person shows up and he's like, "Hey, can we play? Or can I join the rotation?" You're like, "Sure, why not?" And only 2 people got to sit in the chair. And so he says, "Can I have the chair? I'm not very good at playing while sitting on the ground." And we were like, "Sure, when it's your turn, we'll give you the chair." And we give him the chair. And then when it's not his turn, he doesn't give the chair up. He wants to keep it. He's just like, oh no, if you can play standing up or
this guy's a landlord. He's like, it's mine now. So actually,
he was like, well, I'm the only one with the issue playing not on the chair, so I'm just gonna.
We're just maximizing the good of the group.
So everyone in the group was just like, this dude is not very fun. So I just switched to Ice Climbers, my main, and I just wobble him every stock, like real bad. And he was playing Marth, and I did this. So I did a down throw chain grab into wobble, and he's like, "Can I get out of that? Is that chain grab true?" I said,
"No, yes, nope. It is true." You die every time.
Yeah, no, he was like, "Is that true?" And I just say, "Nope." He's like, "How do I get out of it?"
You hit him with the "I'm disappointed in you."
Yeah, no, and he said, "How do I get out of it?" And I say, "Be better." And so I'm wobbling him. He unplugs and walks away, and I'm like, cool.
Oh,
it's the only time I bullied someone off of a setup because he was just being.
You are perhaps the only, and that's. So and that guy would grow up to become Axe and would get wobbling banned, right?
Yes, I banned wobbling in my state.
And that's the story.
Wobbling needed to be banned. Wobbling should only be allowed in friendlies versus people that you don't like.
Yes. There should be a vote. Every time somebody begins to wobble, the chat gets to decide whether or not it's justified.
Nikki had such a good idea. I loved this. So Nikki tweeted out once that they're like, we got to bring wobbling back, but you're only allowed one wobbled stock per tournament. And you can give that wobbled stock to another icy main. So the more icy mains that show up, you can combine your wobbles and give them to one representative. So if like 6 of them are there, then the top player could like wobble 6 times.
I like the idea of like people lying about whether or not they wobbled, and like you have to, and like the TOs are going to look up like the Slippy replay, and like somebody gets a USB from their friend with like a clean Ice Climbers game on it. Like shit, man, I need clean piss. It cannot have any wobbling on it. I cannot have any kind of. I don't even want a handoff in there. I need the TOs to see that I won fair and square.
Funny. Yeah, I've been cleansing. I've been playing a lot of Fox all morning.
No, dude. I have not wobbled in 30 days, at least. I can definitely work for Raytheon Gaming.
Oh, man.
I've got my clearance.
I do think it's funny that he's just like, that Nikki was like, the strategy is good because, like, Ice Climbers are already, like, a team, and this promotes that mentality amongst other Ice Climber mains where we can pool our resources.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of interesting variations to the melee rule set that would be very fun. I think like the idea of like 2 people per as much as it pains me to bring it up, I was a huge fan of the redacted strategy in doubles of switching the controllers mid-set to like it was a Marth and a Fox, and like they would just change who was playing Marth and who was playing Fox halfway through a doubles set or halfway through a game. Obviously now that would lead to people just their hands exploding because they noticed that the pod was off by 0.001 on their like friend's controller. But I do still kind of like the idea of being like, hey, you want to play Marth instead this game? You seem to be getting a little tilted on Fox. Yeah, sure. Give me the conch.
Dude, people nowadays are just like, yeah, check out my controller. I got the X and Y snapback capacitors in here. It's a fob.
What's your conch?
Bald buttons, Firefox notches. And back in the day, it was just like, yeah, I just bought this controller from EB Games. I spun the stick a whole bunch, so it's pretty loose. It's feeling good.
I remember one time I had a it was like my controller from college, which was literally that GameStop situation.
Yeah.
And none for some reason needed to use it at some Chicago event years ago. My memory is just gone now. And he hands it back to me at the end and he goes, "That's a good controller." And it reminded me of the scene in Lord of the Rings, you know, when they're preparing to go to like get the children to go to war at Helm's Deep, and Aragorn's feeling kind of guilty about it, and he takes this kid's sword and swings it around to like make it look great, hands it back to him and goes, "This is a good sword." That sword was dog shit. I could not do anything on that controller. That was a bad controller, but none wanted to hype me up a little, and I like that.
No, the status quo. Does EB Games still exist? No, it's dead.